Hello, and welcome to Go Spill the Tea with
Paranormal Teej.
and myself, Mitch. Hello. This is our first episode,
An intro to haunted
an
dolls.
intro to haunted dolls. Very exciting. I think there's something you wanted to start with.
Yes. So, as you all know by now, we're haunted doll collectors and paranormal investigators. Kind of our goal with this podcast is to spread education, spread awareness, teach other people who are interested in doing this, teach people who are experiencing something paranormal in their home for the first time that what they're dealing with may not always be what they expect. But as I always say, on everything I do, at the end of the day, paranormal practices, a lot of it is spiritually based. And, what works for us may not work for you. So, everything that we say here is not law. It's just our experience and what has worked for us in our house that we want to share with you. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. We're cool with that. And if it does, we hope it helps. So thank you for being here for episode 1.
Episode 1. Lovely. We have a lot of stuff to cover this episode.
Yes,
so
we do.
I believe this is going to be like you said. So we are introduction
Yes.
mode. We have some questions prepared.
Intro mode.
So if you haven't been following us for a bit, let's give a little brief rundown. All right. So first thing I think we want to talk about is we use the term haunted doll a lot, and I think it gets a bad rep in like pop culture from movies and stuff like that, and Hollywood and things like that. So I think what is from your experience, tell us a little bit about like the basics of a haunted doll from someone that has no idea what the heck that means.
Yeah. So a haunted doll, I think sometimes people get the misconception that it's like a spirit that's just inside this doll and it makes an inanimate object animate. It's like a spirit in a teddy bear suit, for example. It's not quite that. Haunted dolls are typically not trapped. That's something a lot of people have concerns about is like, oh my gosh, are they trapped? I feel so bad. Usually, no. There are cases, depending on how they end up a haunted doll, where that could be the case. But I would say, in our experience, more often than not, they're not trapped.
Yeah, definitely more rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So most of our haunted dolls, and again, I'm speaking to the majority, but most of our haunted dolls, they have a vessel that they have chosen for one reason or another. Their vessel could be a doll. It could be an object of really any kind. Dolls are very common because they have a face, they have a look, they kind of give them a sense of identity. So dolls are common, and we are focusing on dolls for this podcast because that's what we do. But kind of these things could apply to any object that is haunted, whatever that vessel may be. So basically, they have chosen, in most cases, to inhabit a vessel for one reason or another, and they're able to come and go from that vessel as they please most of the time.
Most of the time.
So just because, they have a vessel doesn't mean that activity happens only around that vessel. You may have paranormal activity all around the house. Very classic haunted house symptoms. The only difference is that there's just also an object involved, and they may move that object or be more active around the vessel, but it's pretty much the same thing as a haunted location. The only difference is there's a doll involved.
Yeah, and I think haunted doll is kind of just like the common conception, but I think we use the word vessel a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I think that was the term that we learned from a lot of times some of the spirits that we've had, and also from some other people learning a little bit more about it. Because I think for vessel, it could be a lot of different things, right?
It's kind of like a home base.
Kind of like a home base. But so this term of vessel, right? Can we describe that really quick? So what exactly, I know you mentioned it a little bit, but give me like a 2-sentence, like when we hear the word vessel and haunted doll, are they the same thing? Are they a little bit different? Like, what do you think?
In my opinion, I kind of use them interchangeably.
Okay.
So like the word vessel is just referring to the object that they are using for whatever object that may be.
Sure.
So I kind of use them interchangeably. I think vessel is typically what I use with them, like when I'm talking to them about themselves. I'm not like, oh, you're a haunted doll, because it's a spirit. I think haunted doll isn't even like the best word, really. I think the best word for it, if we're playing the semantic game, is really it's a spirit, and the object is just kind of an extension of that spirit energetically. But vessel, haunted doll, kind of interchangeable. I use haunted doll more so with you guys because it makes the most sense, but vessel more so just in the day to day.
Yes, because I mean, we have spirits, even though I mean they're a vessel. Like we have spirits that are stuffed animals, or like
Grace.
We have a spirit like Grace, who is a little
porcelain cat,
which she is adorable.
Yeah.
We had a spirit before that was in a
crystal cat statue.
A crystal cat statue. We had the one that we got that was a wine bottle holder.
Yes.
That was kind of wild.
So anything can be a vessel. It can really basically be anything.
And this is not to say like, oh my gosh, half the things in your house are vessels. This is crazy. No. You can inhabit anything. That's really not the case. I feel like a lot of times it feels like most of the time it is a representation of them in some way. Right?
Whether it looks like them, they owned it when they were alive.
Exactly.
A lot of times energy charged objects become haunted objects. What I mean by energy charged object is it's something that somebody really loved and cherished, and they spent a lot of time with. For example, like my wedding ring may become an energy charged object. I wear it all the time. It's on me. It means something to me. And a lot of times that's older objects because they have been passed down in families and things like that. And a lot of people have loved them. It means a lot to the whole family. And when an object is energy charged, that's very attractive to a spirit because spirits can't show themselves to you and can't show you paranormal activity without energy.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it is older objects that have just a lot of energy surrounding them to begin with, and that kind of draws a spirit in.
Totally with that. So I think kind of branching off that, you mentioned before that most of the time spirits are in a vessel via a choosing, right? But let's talk about a couple of either vessels that we have or just spirits that are in a vessel, maybe not of their choosing.
Yes.
Let's go down that road a little bit, which is a little bit different ethically.
Yes.
But go ahead.
So in some cases, somebody along the line has chosen to conjure a spirit into an object.
Can we explain the word conjure, please?
Conjure essentially means there is some kind of, depending on their belief system, some kind of magic or ritual of some sort involved to pull a spirit from wherever they are into a doll, an object, whatever it is that they choose.
Sure.
So, for example, we have a spirit named Fiona.
Oh, precious.
And she passed away when she was 2 years old, and her mom was a witch and chose to conjure her into a doll. I always say this, don't get any ideas. This does not mean you get your loved one back. Fiona's mom actually lost her life a year later from the same condition that Fiona passed away from.
Actions have consequences.
You don't disrupt the balance of nature like that.
You don't disrupt the balance of nature like that. That is one thing we have learned.
You don't.
We don't mess with it.
No, you just don't.
You don't.
And not to mention, it also creates tremendous pain for the spirit because they are bound to their vessel in most cases, meaning they can't leave their vessel. So they don't have the free will that somebody like Jeremiah may have, where he can go wherever he wants. He can go to my friend's house. He can go to your house. He could go wherever he chooses on any given day. They don't have that choice. They are stuck to that object. And not to mention, there's also this ethical thing involved. Like when a spirit can leave their vessel, they can cross if they so choose to. When they are bound to an object, they can't. It's not that easy, at least.
That's our understanding.
It's not that easy. There are ways, but it's not as easy as just the spirit makes the choice and they go. And when somebody conjures a loved one, which is very actually the most common way that I see with conjurings, is a lot of times it's somebody conjuring a loved one that they'll miss.
Yeah, for sure.
What people seem to forget is, our lives as the living are finite. Like, we live for how many number of years? Okay, well, now, your daughter is in this vessel forever.
Yeah.
And you don't know where that vessel is going to end up.
Yes.
I always say, like, you guys watching, if you collect haunted dolls, us, like, we're the 1% of people that treat haunted objects very well.
Yes.
Most of them are chucked in Goodwills, dumpsters, lit on fire, treated like crap, put in museums. I mean, it's awful.
It's brutal.
I mean, you're subjecting your loved one to that.
It's almost like a zoo. Like it's
sad.
It's rough and it's not good. And a lot of times I think something that we'll hear about later is a lot of times, even imagine if, people don't know that it is a vessel. So all of a sudden now people are just walking past this thing. It's almost like you don't exist.
Or they're going to Goodwill to the stuffed animal bin to buy their dogs a bunch of stuffed animals to tear apart.
Ew, that sounds icky.
I mean, people do it, like some people are like, oh yeah, my German Shepherd tears up every stuffed animal I give him. So I go clear out the Goodwill bin. Okay.
sure it's happened.
I'm sure it's happened, but there's a lot of things involved ethically there. So generally a haunted object can become a haunted object a lot of different ways. They can choose it. It can kind of happen on accident. It could be something in their house that they were drawn to, and then suddenly it's their vessel. Like there are a lot of different ways that a haunted object becomes haunted. And it's also important as investigators and as collectors, and if you're working with haunted objects in any capacity, that you understand the circumstances of kind of how they came to be, because that does change how you interact with them.
Totally.
Like how does that, for example, like in your experience, like how does that change how we interact with Stefania? Because she's bound to her vessel.
Stefania's a tough one. I think originally she's up there. She's adorable. Originally, it was because we got her fairly early on in our journey that it was very tough to kind of like figure out what we were allowed to talk about with her. And it was very sensitive because her case especially is tremendously tragic and sad. So it was really tough for us to kind of get a bearing on what was okay to talk about and sort of the relationship we were allowed to have with her. Because
she didn't want this.
And she's very clear that she really didn't want to be here originally. I don't know if that's changed because she's made it very clear she enjoys spending her time here. She
wants to be here, but she doesn't want to have a vessel.
She doesn't want to have a vessel.
She would rather be somewhere else.
Yes.
But she's happy here because she's a nice person.
Exactly. It's it's like the best of a worst case scenario.
Yes.
But so that makes it really tough, especially from even
and there's a lot of grief for them.
There's a lot of grief. Oh my gosh, big time. Because imagine you're going through one of the most tragic periods in your life, and then suddenly you get ripped back from wherever you are, and then you get kind of poked and prodded to try and see if you can solve this mystical problem or try
in her case, solve a crime.
Yeah, solve a crime, which is crazy. Like that's insane, and it was very sad.
Yeah.
But let's move on because we got a lot more to talk about.
Yes, we do.
So I think our next thing we want to talk about is something that I think we get a lot of questions on, especially when people are looking at haunted dolls for sale, which is not the topic of today's episode.
We will talk
and
about
we will talk about it in the future. But I think something that some people have mentioned is this idea of good, neutral, and I think the word is
good, positive.
Positive, sorry. Positive, neutral,
They're
and
good.
Negative spirits. Because I think kind of going back to the cliche of like haunted dolls in pop culture, and we think of like, like I feel like Chucky is like a really good example where like he's like, oh, Chucky's like, this like evil little guy. But explain positive, neutral, and negative in a way that is a little bit more inclusive to what we got.
Yeah. So positive, neutral, and negative is this I like to say it's a very subjective concept that we as the living have created. The spirit world does not have this positive, neutral, negative thing that they understand, they go by, they identify as. I say that because I often see people going when they're investigating and asking a spirit, are you positive, neutral, or negative? And they get scared out of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
They get confused because they're getting mixed messaging and things like that. And the reason why is because a spirit has no clue what you're talking about.
Damn straight.
So we made this up as living people.
Literally.
And I think this positive, neutral, negative, category is something that was really kind of designated as a way to identify to people, like when they're for sale, like when a haunted object is for sale, like, okay, what kind of spirit am I looking at?
Yeah.
So I always like to preface with that because I think it's very important that if you are somebody who's investigating a haunted object, like communicating with a potentially haunted object, like don't ask them. Chances are you're going to get the wrong answer. Like you'll get a little kid that's like, yeah, I'm negative. I had a bad day. And then you like think that like something really nasty's in your house. So be careful with that. I see people do it all the time. Basically what I everybody has a different take on this. If you ask any other person, they're probably going to say something else. Everybody is going to say something completely different because, again, this is not like a law of the spirit world. This is a people who are investigating came up with
a man-made construct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a positive spirit, in my personal experience and opinion, if I was going to classify something as a positive spirit, that would be a spirit who has never caused harm. And we can reasonably expect that they won't cause harm again. This does not mean that they're not sassy. This does not mean that they're happy all the time. This doesn't mean that they get sad. They don't get sad sometimes. Same thing as the living. You can have a really crappy day, but that doesn't make you a crappy person. It just means you had a bad day. Spirits are the same thing.
Absolutely.
Just because they're a positive spirit doesn't mean that they're not entitled to emotions and grief and experience, you know? So with positives, I always say it's somebody that we can reasonably expect is safe and will always be safe. And there's never been any documented report of injury, harm, energy draining, etc. Okay, so that's positive. And in our experience, and just the experience I've had with my own investigations, with helping other people with their paranormal experiences online, positives are the most common.
For sure.
And often I think it gets flipped around and everybody thinks anything haunted is negative.
Absolutely.
So let's go from positive to negative for a second. So
the full spectrum. We're just gonna hit it.
Yeah, and then we'll go back to the middle after that.
Okay.
All right.
If you say so.
So for negative, I would classify something as negative if I was working with it, if it consistently was known for causing harm, being aggressive with, activity. Like with a positive, the activity is going to be more passive. Your stuff might get knocked down. Your lights are going to be flicker, the typical stuff. But with a negative, that activity may be directed at you. So I lived in a haunted apartment one time and I had a really angry ghost who was trying to slam everybody's fingers in every drawer, cabinet, door that they could find, especially if they were a dude. So that would be something I would consider negative because they're actively pursuing a person with the expectation of harm.
With malice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where I would put negative. Neutral is interesting. Neutral is a spirit who falls somewhere in the middle, and how they behave is heavily dependent on their circumstance. So they may go to one person's house and wreak complete havoc on their home. They may hate that person and just be hot pursuit on it with negative actions. But then they go somewhere else and they're a fan of you and you never have a problem.
Which we've had.
We've had this.
We've had that a couple times.
So, neutrals do fall somewhere in between. And a lot of times these are spirits that have strong boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of trauma and they're very protective over themselves. Totally. And if they feel you have disrespected them, you are a threat to them, you are potentially unwelcoming, things like that. All of those things can set them on the more negative trajectory.
Mm-hmm. I think it's another nice thing to note that sometimes we hear classifications of spirits like that are different kinds of spirits, right? So like I think Fae is a good example.
Fae gets a bad rap.
Fae gets a bad rap. And I think just like anything else, just like, humans, for example, I think that there's positive, there's neutral, and there's negative kind of in every category.
Every category.
And every category, which is, I think, totally makes sense. But
even
non-human. And that's cool, right? And I think, but I'm going to double down on the fact that I think for us, we've experienced a overwhelmingly amount of positive compared to anything else.
Oh yeah.
Even our couple of investigations we've done in person, most of the time, the spirits that we interact with are fairly positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We've had, an experience here or there, but for the most part,
overwhelmingly,
they're lovely.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly. I mean,
lovely.
Especially at locations, location spirits tend to be a little bit more confused, disoriented, upset, kind of just having a lot of grief over their circumstances. We see that more at locations than we do with haunted objects. but they're not out to get anybody. They're
No.
just like having a rough go.
Yeah.
Thank you for flickering
Thank you.
the light.
Or
I don't know if you guys
or
can
a
see
lot
that.
of times, they're upset because of things that have happened to either their area or their space or things around them, which is totally understandable. If someone just like walked into my house and like completely trashed my kitchen, I'm going to be pissed off about it. I'm going to be like, what's happening? Why is this going on? And this person has, no clue or is being blatantly disrespectful. Like, yeah, that would make anyone upset about it, which totally makes sense.
And I think us as human beings, just the nature of being a human being is human beings like things to be really black and white. It's all this way or it's all that way, and that's that. And the paranormal confuses and freaks people out because it's all gray.
Well, and remember,
no two spirits are the same.
People are scared of things they don't understand.
Right.
And for sure. And we don't have a playbook of how things are, right? We have, I feel like, a good idea of how things work, but I think there are still experiences where we learn almost every single time we go do something. Every spirit teaches something. Every spirit box we do, we're like, oh my gosh, we never knew this. Like, there's so many cool things. Even going to locations, we're like, oh my gosh, I had no clue this was a thing.
Yeah,
like
every time we learn something new, and there's so much gray involved in the paranormal. And so I think it's really important, and like when I'm trying to educate people about the paranormal, like the first thing I say usually is like, okay, it's not all negative and it's not all positive and it's not all this or all that. It's just there, every single like haunting is different.
For sure.
Every single spirit is different because these were living people. And no two of us are the same, like we may have similarities. We have spirits that are similar to one another, but no two of them are exactly the same. They never present the same way. The activity is going to be similar, but have different characteristics when it happens, how it happens, what triggers that activity. Is it something pissed them off so they threw the cup, or is it, oh, I really like rap music so I'm going to throw the cup?
And
we have both.
And I think remember that this changes over time. Like, we have a lot of spirits who, when we first get them, are understandably very shy, which
they're terrified of
us. They're going to a new place. And also, I feel like our house, we have a good amount of spirits, so sometimes our house may be kind of hard to walk into. No pun intended. But I think like they see a lot of growth amongst themselves, and we see a lot of growth.
Yeah,
with
they
them,
can change,
which is incredible. Which I think leads us into our spirit of the week.
Oh, okay. Do you want to explain what Spirit of the Week is
before
we take our commercial break?
I would be delighted to before our commercial break. So, Spirit of the Week. So, we were thinking about some cool things to do during our podcast. And this is also a good time to say that if you guys have any ideas of stuff that you want us to do, please tell us.
And so many of you guys
come with such good ideas.
This Spirit of the Week concept.
Yes.
So if you were one of those people, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for giving us that feedback, because this is a genius idea.
So smart.
They're loving it. We're loving it. I hope you guys love it too.
Yes.
We're excited.
So, Spirit of the Week. Basically, what we decided we wanted to do is we came up with kind of a basic set of, I think it's like 7 questions, 7, 8, I don't know.
I have no idea.
That we felt like gave spirits kind of a really basic overview of their experiences, who they are, what they want you guys to know, in kind of their words. And we would ask them on a spirit box their responses, and we have written those down today. Additionally, we also got some lovely questions from some people from our Discord that are incredible questions that we would have never thought of, that are lovely. So I think that also is something that you guys could absolutely participate in.
If you guys have questions for a future Spirit of the Week, I will put the link to the forum to submit those questions in the description here. So make sure you check that out. If you would like to ask anybody a question, it can be specific to a specific kind of spirit. It could be like, hey, I have a question for the kids. I have a question. Or it could be like, hey, Auric, dude, I got to know something. It could be that specific. Whatever you want to submit, please do. And submit more than one. Submit as many as you want. We love the questions. They love the questions. And you guys are very creative. You're a lot more creative than we are, to be honest with you.
And no lie, we read off the questions all the time. Taylor would be like, oh my God, I found this awesome question. Like, I have to tell you. And I'm like, okay, sure.
I'm like, I
just
need
got
the
home
answer
from work,
to this one right now.
So it is fascinating and we love it. So I think it's time for our little commercial break.
Yes. And then when we come back, you will find out who Spirit of the Week number 1 is. I'm sure it will be very surprising to all of you.
If you've been following us, you're going to know who it is. But that's okay. Very fun. So enjoy your little commercial.
See you when we get back.
Yes. And we're back from your little commercial break.
With our spirit of the week,
With our spirit of the week.
Jeremiah.
Oh, our lovely little teddy bear.
The man,
the myth, the legend, Jeremiah. So let's first, I think, talk a little bit about how Jeremiah got here.
Yes.
And this is your story to share. So please take it away.
Okay, so Jer. So our first haunted doll was Lana, who's right behind me. And we just had, we didn't know what we were getting into when we started
had
haunted doll.
no clue. I still remember the day that Taylor came to me and she's like, so here's the deal. I've been following some haunted doll
Stuff.
stuff on was it on? I don't remember.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Where I find
we were watching documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I want to buy one. And I was like, first of all, no. Like, what are you talking about? Because I had the same exact thing as everybody else. I'm like, we're going to bring that kind of negative energy into our house.
And I said, no, I researched.
And you said,
there's
no,
positives.
it's positives. So then lo and behold, we got one.
He said, you're probably going to do it anyway. So I may as well just say yes.
Honestly, that's how it turns out most of the time, you know? So we got Lana.
Yes.
And then it steamrolled from there.
But we both had a great experience with her. Like, both of us just enjoyed her so much.
Oh, she
And after he met her one day in, he's like, oh, I love this too.
Yeah,
and
it was great.
It was great. So we had a great experience with her. And of course, because the personality that I am, I was like, I need to get another one. So I started.
You gotta collect them all.
You gotta catch them all. I've been a Pokemon fan since I was 4 years
Gotta
old,
catch
and
them all.
the mindset it sticks.
It holds strong.
It sticks. So Jer, I was looking online for haunted dolls, and when you're looking for a haunted doll, you don't want to pick a haunted doll who just has a vessel you like. You don't want to pick a haunted doll, just because there's one thing in the bio that stands out to you. Like, you want to be drawn to that spirit.
Yeah, and that's it's an intimidating decision.
Yes,
for sure.
Because it's like adopting an invisible roommate or a friend or a family member, however you treat them. And it's a responsibility. It's not just, oh, I'm getting this as like an oddity to collect. Like, this is a spirit that you have to spend time with, work with, communicate with, and you want to like them and you want them to like you too. So it's important that on both sides you feel like they're a good fit for your home and you're a good fit for what they want, because at the end of the day, it's their afterlife. It's not yours. And you want them to be spending their afterlife in a way that they want. And I take a huge responsibility for that. So I was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, as I do, and doom scrolling to the ends of the earth on every haunted doll, everything ever. And lo and behold, I see Jer. And I didn't even read that bio. And I was like, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's the one. That's the one. And then I read the bio. And I was intimidated because he does some stuff that's not for beginners, and we were beginners. But I was like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I closed my, and this is how it's the one for you, is when you just can't get them out of your head. And, you close down, you're like doing other things, and they just keep coming back to you. And that's what happened with Jer. I couldn't stop thinking about him. And I sent a picture to Mitchell, and I was like, this is it. And he's like, okay, and then the rest was history, and we got him. Jer is not a beginner friendly haunted doll.
Not even a little bit.
But and it was rough for a little bit. As we were figuring things out and he was figuring things out. He has a lot of trauma, and as a result, a lot of needs, and rightfully so, based on his experience.
Additionally, a lot of experience with haunted doll collectors
that were bad,
that were not good.
People
so I think it was a bad situation initially, but Jer was where I learned that spirits can change. Like, there's so much out there about, hauntings, and it's the same, and it's on repeat, and it's on, it's always the same thing, and they're the same way forever. That has just not been our experience with Jer. He has changed
so much.
Yes.
So much. I
So
mean, he
much.
is so different than when we got him. I mean, he was so insecure. He was terrified of us. He was terrified we were going to give him away. He was terrified of anybody that came into our life that he perceived as a threat that may cause us to give him away. And as a result, there was blocking me from talking to people on my phone, specific people, for days at a time. You know, he earthquaked our shelf one time because he got upset.
Falling off the shelf,
throwing himself off the shelf,
throwing things
aggressively, like at the wall. I mean, it was a lot. And
which I want to make very clear was never aggressive as in mean.
No,
I think
it was
aggressive, upset,
hurt.
and almost like, you know, little kid upset.
Because he's 6.5.
Because 6 and don't forget the half.
The half matters to
Very
him.
important. But like, think about it. That's like the, you know, just because they may have been around for a long time doesn't mean they really get that same level of emotional maturity that you get from being, you know, 14, 18, 20, 25, whatever.
He was scared.
He's still a 6.5-year-old.
Traumatized, and he had parents who neglected him, didn't care for him the way he should have been cared for. He lost his life at the hands of his family. And then he has been in this vessel for a long time, went from spirit keeper to spirit keeper to spirit keeper, and was gotten rid of because he was too active and it scared them. And then he was gotten rid of by somebody that he loved and loved him back because the boyfriend didn't want her to have a haunted doll, the new boyfriend, even though she had him first. Like, you know, and all of those things just lead to a spirit who's really insecure and is scared that the same bad thing is going to happen again. Just like how the living, you know, if something bad happens to us over and over and over again, you know, our body learns to be on guard. And he was kind of that way. But, you know, we learned so much from him. When you hear his interview responses, you're going to see how much we've learned from him if you've watched me talk at all. Because so much of what I say echoes things that he told us and taught us. And, you know, like that's the kind of paranormal investigator that I try to be. Is, you know, I don't want to learn from, you know, I want to learn from them. I don't want to learn from, oh, you know, we all had this preconceived notion. No, I want to learn what the spirit world is teaching me. And Jer has taught us so much. And I'm so grateful for that, because what 6.5-year-old does that?
And I think on top of that, it was also a big deal for us to try and make a very positive environment for him. Either letting him kind of work through some of his things, one, trying to create positive spirits around him, two, like having him with Lana, who was a very, you know, mature, older spirit, who I think we even asked her, we were like, hey, this is something we want to do. Would you be okay with this? And she was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then also the addition of Mia as well that we got with him was very like lighthearted and fun and things like that. And I think that really helped give him a friend right off the bat that kind of understood him. That when Hoshiko came, like he was good. But I think it's very important to really create a positive environment and not like, you know, like guilty until innocent kind of thing. It's like you presume that they're going to be positive and create a positive environment for them, and they will end up doing positive things. I mean, it's just if you go in with a negative notion of it, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna fulfill your expectations.
Yeah.
So I think it was very important for us. And initially, at times where we were a little unsure of what was going to happen,
we were just overwhelmed because we wanted him to be happy, and we didn't know how to do it.
And we hadn't experienced his level of activity or the intensity of his activity, which we've then become very accustomed to.
But still to this day, he's one of the most active spirits that we have ever worked with at a location as a haunted object. I mean, still to this day, Jer stands the test of time in a majority of my craziest stories.
Our Jer
stories. I mean, he is,
and we bring him everywhere.
Icon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we bring him everywhere. We brought him to LA with us. I mean, like he's everything. I mean, he's so wonderful, and everything about Jer is amazing. I will drop his story link in the description if you want to know like his full backstory. We gave you like a little bit of a snippet and more of our history with Jer, but if you want to know his full story and kind of how he came to be, definitely check that out. His story is one that will make you cry. Trigger warning. Not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's really hard to hear. But I think it's a really important story to be heard. I mean, I think you can learn a lot from it.
Big time.
All of us can. And, it speaks to how we treat each other, how we treat kids, how we treat spirits. I mean, it's important, I think.
For sure. Let's get to his answers, shall we?
So,
Okay.
how did he give these answers? Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay. So we asked Jer via the spirit box, which we'll probably talk about in a future episode. Or I think we have
Spirit box tutorial.
do we have a spirit box tutorial?
Yes, we do.
Fantastic. Go check that out
What
if
do
you
you
want some
think
more
I do
information.
at 3 a.m. while you're asleep?
I think you're doing all this. I get it. But we ask him via
Making
the spirit box.
tutorials.
I'll ask him the questions. I'll give him the response, and I wrote down all the responses word for word. I did not
No embellishments.
no embellishments at all. So, question number 1: if you could give one piece of advice to spirit keepers, what would it be? And Jer said, always be very nice to them because you don't really know their feelings. It can hurt what you say. Be loving to us, please. Which I think is
Now you know where my
A,
spiel
precious,
comes from about
and
respecting
B,
spirits.
literally you can you can like take everything we talked about for the past however long and just put it in that sentence, and it's like, yeah, Jer's got it already.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Number
And
2.
he would tell us, don't be scared. Don't be scared of me. Don't be
scared.
I'm not scary. I don't want to
Yes.
scare you. Like, he was so kind to us at the beginning because we didn't know what to expect. And he would reassure us over and over. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be scared. And he would ease us in every day. The activity would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until he like felt like we had it.
Yeah. And then he's like,
now we don't hold back.
yeah.
But,
Now he's like, can I do this? And we're like, yeah, dude. And he's like, really? We're like,
but
yeah.
he very much wanted us to know that we did not need to be afraid of him, which is why I always tell you guys, I'm like, please approach spirits with curiosity rather than fear, because you never know who that spirit is. And it's better to be curious than to be immediately scared, because either way, fear goes nowhere. If you're working with a positive, fear means you've upset that positive spirit because they probably didn't want to scare you. And that can be very hurtful. At least it was for Jer when people were afraid of him. He took that to heart. And if they're a negative, they're going to like that you're scared. So either way, the fear, like, just, try to reframe your thinking. It's hard to say don't be scared. But really, be thinking about like, okay, was this activity, what was the true intent behind the activity? Because to me, a spirit opening a closet door or turning on the lights or knocking something over, that's not malicious. To us, when we get scared, if we are fearful, we're going to think, oh my gosh, they're out to get me. But in reality, when we're not living in fear, it's just like, oh, homie opened the door.
Homie open the door.
So, try to stay cognitive about it, and not in your fear, because we learn from him, like,
big time.
And not all spirits want to scare you.
And we will continue to learn from him.
Oh, forever.
Great. Question number 2. How do you feel about having a vessel? Jer said, I love it. It's so comfy. Precious. Speaks for itself. Question number 3. If there was a time you were not in a vessel, how was that experience different? And Jer said, it was bad. Everyone passed by and couldn't see me. I hate that. Which, once again, I think talks about a lot of the stuff we talked about before, in like trying to be respectful, obviously.
We also learned, we did not know that there was a time he didn't have a vessel. We learned that
we
from
didn't
this
know
interview.
That until literally when we did this. So
because his vessel is a lot older than it looks. Like the sweater we added, but I mean, this is from like the 40s, 50s.
Yeah, he's a pretty floppy guy.
Like no tags, no nothing. Yeah. So we were like, oh yeah, Jer's always had a vessel.
The dude gives good hugs.
Yes, he does.
And great snuggles. Big time. Okay, question number 4. What is one thing you enjoy about the spirit world and one thing you don't? And Jer said, I like to have a home that loves me. I don't like that waiting between time to talk.
We know.
We know.
We knew that.
I feel like if Jer had the option to, we could do Spirit Box twice a day, every day. And he would want to talk to us every single day.
And honestly, a majority when we were new, right? Like, and I learned from Jer, that's why you guys, I'm always like, you got to communicate with your haunted dolls. Like, please communicate with them. I learned that from Jer. Because, every time he was upset, it was only because he had something to say and he didn't have a way to tell us. And once we got that communication down, never a problem.
Yeah.
Dude
And
just likes to talk.
I think also it's very important to understand that sometimes even just acknowledging them is super important. Like even
Good morning,
if,
good night.
yeah, like we do the spirit box a lot of times, which I think is very intimidating to a lot of people, which is totally understandable. But even something as simple as like a little light or a pendulum is a really, really easy way to at
something.
least give a little bit of communication between you and the spirit, which goes a long way.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 5. What is something you want people to know about you? And Jer said, I love when people watch my videos. And I love the color green. Which, oh, love this guy.
He calls TikTok his blog.
His blog. Most of you may know, if you do not, pretty much everything Jer owns is green. He's got a green shirt. He likes green candy. He has a green car.
Multiple green cars.
Multiple green cars. All his toys are green.
Yep.
His little green frog.
Yep. Everything's got to be green.
Everything's got to be green. Which, can you blame the guy?
That's what he likes.
We
learned that early on. That was like one of the first things we got him to communicate on a spirit box. We're like, what do you want as an offering? That was a great way to get him to talk on a spirit box. And he goes,
my God.
a green
He's
lollipop.
Like a green lollipop.
And we're like, oh, okay. That's very specific.
And then he started like showing up that you put part of that green lollipop in like other people's bags and doing all a bunch of stuff with it.
Throwing
it got
down
crazy.
the stairs.
That was crazy.
Yeah, the second he got his first offering, which was that green lollipop, that thing flew downstairs. His shelf was actually up there. Green lollipop went from that top shelf all the way to our bottom floor, 2 floors down.
Which is, by the way, probably like 15 feet that way and then a drop. So I don't know how the hell it got over there, but he did it.
He yeeted that thing.
Yes. Question number 6. What is your favorite part about living here? And Jer said, it's my own family I wanted.
My heart.
I'm going to die.
I want you guys to know too, like we ask these questions. So, if you are somebody that is thinking about haunted doll collecting, you have haunted dolls and you just want to learn more about them to, better support them. Like we ask them these kinds of questions, not because it's like, oh, we want Jared to pat us on the back about how great our house is.
No.
But like, so you guys can see like, hey, this might be something that your haunted doll wants. And things to think about, because everybody's going to say something different, and so, each spirit has different things that they want in their environment, and your environment matters. The success of the spirit matters so much, how active they are, how willing to communicate they are, what kind of paranormal activity you get, if you get any paranormal activity, if it's way too extreme, why is that?
Yes.
Like the environment matters. And so like kind of our goal, the way we wrote a lot of these questions was like, okay, what would somebody need to know about what's important to them as spirits to make them feel successful?
And I think on top of that, knowing that if someone was thinking about it, like how important it is that this is a huge part of your life. Like I feel like the way that I always described it is it is a very similar thing to like adopting an animal.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to understand, like
more time with them.
I know, like everyone sees the cute little puppy on the street and is like, oh my God, the puppy is so cute, yada yada yada.
But then it's a 10-year-old dog.
But then it's a 10-year-old dog, and then when you gotta go buy them food, and they're gonna throw up on the carpet and all this kind of stuff that inevitably happens. You have to take them for what they are, and I think that's a very important thing. This is not something that
it's not a phase.
It's not a phase, and even though it may be in the shape of a teddy bear, this is not something that you can leave on the shelf and never interact with again.
And it's not instant gratification either.
No, it is a lot.
It's not like
work.
I see a lot of people who want a paranormal experience so bad, and I get why. If you're interested in it and you really, you want it. And they get the haunted doll, and I get a DM on TikTok. Oh my gosh, what do I do? My haunted doll's not active yet. Maybe it hates me, or it's not haunted. And I'm like, how long has it been? They're like, I got it 2 hours ago.
It's been 48 hours, and
my
my doll hasn't opened a door yet. And I'm like, bro, chill.
It takes a long time for them to get comfortable too. We have had haunted dolls with zero activity, zero communication for 6 months, and then one day they show up and they're moving by themselves, and you're like, what?
We've had dolls we still have never talked to.
Yeah.
That we've had for months.
Yeah, some of them take a long time.
We've talked to Dayu, who's right here, one time. And then it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And that
and
was
she was really
it.
scared of
She was
us.
very scared of us. And that's cool. Like if that takes her time
Like,
to
give
open
them the
up and get
time
more
that they
comfortable,
need.
sure. Like I
Yeah.
have no problem.
It's not instant gratification. It's not, oh, I'm going to buy a haunted doll, have a paranormal experience, and then I'm going to be done with this hobby. It's like, you're in it for
Yes.
the long haul.
Okay, we're in question number 7. I think this is a great question. What is one thing you want people to know about haunted dolls? Jer said, it's not scary to know Jeremiah. I don't mean to scare anyone. I love making friends with everyone. Precious.
He does like
Absolutely
making
precious.
friends with everybody.
He
Strangers,
is a very,
people on the
very
internet.
friendly guy. He shows up at a bunch of people's houses. Our friends, which I think is so incredible, they have some little stuff.
They have like,
out for him.
It's almost like a tiny like altar.
Yeah, they
for
have
him
like a
almost.
little space set out for him with a little light.
with green candy.
With green candy.
Yeah.
So he goes
Multiple people have those at their house.
Yes,
by
and
the
he
way.
goes over to their house all the time.
They also have them in their cars because he
also
goes
have them in
there
their cars,
too.
and he goes in their cars. Or the one time, remember that our friend was in their car and they were having kind of a bad day.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, I think Jer is with me right now." And we're like, and remember we came up here and we asked someone, I think we asked like Hoshiko, and we're like, "Hey, is Jer here?" And she was like, "No,
He's busy.
he's busy."
I'm like, all right.
We're like, "Okay, he's somewhere
And
else."
we call that
Being out of office.
out of office. If you ever hear us say this on a future episode, out of office
Yes.
means they're not in their
They're
vessel.
not in their
They've
vessel,
left the
and
building.
they're out of Dodge.
Outie.
Out. And that's cool. If he wants to go visit people, be my guest. He's a smart guy.
He's a busybody.
Okay, question number 8. This is our first of 2 suggested questions for us, which is lovely. Submitted. Words are hard. This is from someone who follows us, who goes by the name of In the French Style. Lovely. If you could build the most perfect ice cream sundae, what ice cream would you use and what toppings would you pick?
This question's iconic.
Iconic. And you know what would be fun? We can answer that question too.
Oh God, I don't know what I would say.
Okay. Well, think about it. So Jeremiah said, I love that chocolate ice cream with 5 green sprinkles and 2 cherries, please. And then I said, wow, that sounds great, Jeremiah. And then he said, not for you. And I was like, thank you, Jer. Clearly it's not for me.
Yes.
That's fine.
Also very Jer. Everything belongs to him.
Yes.
He doesn't share well.
He is. And
that's my spirit box. There are 53 other spirits in this house, and that's your spirit box.
To be fair, we have spoiled him. He deserves it. He deserves it. But I feel like we are partially at fault.
Yeah, we are.
Understandably, happily at that. But Taylor, if you were to build your perfect ice cream sundae, what would it be?
Boy, I have no idea. I don't know.
Do you want me to go first?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not like really a sundae person, to be honest with you. Like I'm like just like a cookies and cream ice cream kind of person.
Are you a cone or are you a cup?
Never. No. It has to be a cup.
It has to be a cup.
Yeah, I have like major sensory issues, and going from the texture of ice cream to the crunch of a cone would make me ill.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the part where like the ice cream kind of melts onto your hand and it gets
I can't do that either. No, I can't have crap on my hands either. That's also bad. I didn't even think about that. Don't even get me going. No, that would also suck.
I will say, I think when I was younger, I enjoyed cones. Now, definitely a cup. And I'm not a huge ice cream guy, so I like only a little bit.
You eat like fake ice cream.
I eat fake ice cream because I'm
there's
lame.
No dairy in it.
Okay, my tummy. I got a bad tummy.
Gross.
But yeah, I like a little bit. And then I don't put a bunch of stuff on my ice cream.
No, it's too much.
I mean, I'm down for some sprinkles though. 5 green sprinkles sounds fantastic.
Just 5.
Yeah.
It's his, it's not yours.
It is his. I'll have red sprinkles. Anyways, lovely question from In the French Style. Thank you so much.
Cherries thing is very interesting too.
He's a cherries guy. I had no idea.
Didn't know that either.
No idea.
See, we're learning things from these interview questions too. So thank you.
Thank you. This question is from Adriana. Shout out Adriana. What is your favorite thing to do throughout the day? And Jer said, play with everyone and drive my car. His car, by the way.
Because you know what happens when we buy other spirits' cars? They go missing.
And Jer says, that's my car. And I
One time I had 5 cars of Jeffrey's go missing in one day
and
because Jared got mad at me.
and listen, I love him for it, and I always will. But it's like you're dealing with a 6.5-year-old.
I mean, it's very 6.5.
It is what it is. Taylor, what do you like to do throughout the day?
Take naps.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Take naps.
Take naps.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I
and do anything paranormal.
Yeah, and stay inside.
And stay indoors.
I'll do pretty much anything outside, which makes us different.
Remember that one time that you dragged my ass through the woods on an investigation, ruined my shoes?
Yeah, I do. You hated me. Anyways, so when we were done, I asked Jer, hey, is there anything else you want to say? We're wrapping it up. And he said, thanks for picking me for number 1. And then, which, by the way, Jared takes his job as the video guy very seriously. He said, your turn to be in video, Mitchell. Bye.
Yeah, because Mitchell is never in videos.
No. And then he said how he closes every single spirit box session. He says, love you. Every single time.
Yes.
Every single time.
He does.
Which is interesting because now I think he's gotten all of our spirits to say that. Because now
Sandy's doing it now
too. A lot of the kids will do that for us, which is beyond precious and just like
a ghost telling you that they love you.
Hits me right here when a little 6.5-year-old guy just says he loves you. It's like BT just gonna go cry real quick. No big deal. But Jared was lovely. He answered his questions phenomenally.
Yeah, he did. I think he did a great job.
Was a great number 1.
Spirit of the Week number 1 is a wrap. Episode 1 is a wrap. Shout out to our host, Mitchell. Mitchell is the host of this podcast, not me. Mitchell is in charge of this matter. And we love that.
I need something to do.
No, Mitchell's like not a video guy, not a social media guy, but for the podcast, he was about this one.
I'm down to podcast.
He was down to podcast.
I like to talk. I like setting things up. Sometimes, no, I like to talk. I'm good at talking sometimes. Rarely.
Just not at parties.
No, too many people is way too scary. But this way I can talk to people and they don't have to sit in front of me, which makes me feel way better.
Exhibit A.
Anyways, so thank you all for joining us on our first episode. I think we've said it already, but I will say it again. This is totally thanks to all of you who are watching. I know it's cliche, but I will say I never thought we'd be able to do something like this. Like, this has been crazy, like this whole process we've had of going through this. So I want to thank you so much. We started
posting online in November, and life has taken a complete change for us. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
We love doing this. Our spirits love doing this. If you guys don't already know. I think it just flickered when we said that. So we are going to release these videos weekly.
Every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes. Assuming nothing crazy happens, we are going to do it every Sunday. We will submit that at 7 p.m. Our goal is to be on, I think it's going to start on YouTube, correct?
Yes, it will start on YouTube.
Our goal is to have it in multiple places where you can get any of your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music.
We're going to try.
Once we get that going as well.
We can figure out technology, because all of you guys have learned that I suck at it. And I have people online teaching me how to do things online on a daily basis.
And that's why we love our community.
Yes, that is why we love our community.
So, Taylor, if they want to find you on any other socials, where can they find you?
TikTok.
What's your handle on TikTok?
Paranormal Teej.
Paranormal Teej.
YouTube. Paranormal Teej, which you're probably here, right?
Probably.
We do have a community on Discord. If you're interested in haunted dolls, paranormal, etc., please join us. We would love to have you. The link is in my link tree. If you have any issues getting in, add me as a friend on Discord, Paranormal Teej, and I will add you manually to that server. We would love to have you. You do not need to be a haunted doll collector or an investigator to join. Just curious about it. Please join us.
There's a lot of other stuff on there as well. There's a page. My favorite page is for the pets. There we have a pets in there.
Send me pictures of your cats.
Send me pictures of your cats or your snakes.
Snakes too.
Or dogs. We like doggos.
Yeah. We just like the pets.
Any other pets that you have, we love them.
We had a tortoise posted there the other day.
Taylor has always wanted a sugar glider.
Don't start because people are gonna egg me on and I'm gonna have to do it.
No, don't do that. But
egg me on.
I should have never said that.
No, you should.
But we have a bunch of wonderful channels in there, so please check that out. Otherwise, check out Taylor on the TikTok and the YouTube and all that good stuff. Maybe one day I'll finally start posting on TikTok. Who knows?
Doubt it.
Doubt it. Who knows?
A girl can dream.
A girl can dream. But thank you so much. We will see you guys in 1 week from today.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Catch you next time.